Aloha, Rich Alverson here. This is ICS321. This is the first video of spring semester 2025. And in this video, I'm just going to go over the course policies and the basics of the course. So let me share my screen. All right, so on the left here, we have La Lima. And so if you click on go into your course in La Lima, click on the course up at the top, and click on overview, and you see the syllabus here. So these are my notes on the right here. In La Lima, the relevant links here, tabs are the overview. You're going to do the weekly engagement maybe like next week once, but as soon as um, participation verification is over, that link's going to go away. This is a link to the textbook. I'll get to that. Assignments, there are 5 assignments or so that you do on a server that I get assigned you. And then there's the grade book here. So as far as participation verification goes, we have to do this. The federal government wants us to, because our university gets money based on how many students are enrolled, and so there are students who, I guess we have to make sure that you're enrolled, that you're really enrolled, and so there's a confirmation process, and that's what this is. For me, participation verification is you doing any one of these things. You do the weekly engagement. The best thing for you to do is to purchase the textbook. Okay, if you purchase the textbook, then you're verified, and you have to purchase the textbook because you have to do all your work in the textbook. Okay. The third way is if you're worried about some issues keeping that from happening, or you're worried about it, just email me, and I'll get contact from you, and that to me means you're participating. Okay. If we look at the syllabus, we see that at the beginning here, it's how you contact me, and the best way is either email or text message, and they're both equally as good. I look at both of them, many times during the day. The first time you text me, tell me who you are so I can put your name in my contacts, and I'll put a little ICS321 next to it so I know where you came from. And I should if I don't respond to something, it's usually because I don't know the answer yet, but it's not because I'm blowing you off. However, sometimes I wake up in the morning, I have a bunch of emails, and sometimes I don't get to all of them before I start getting busy. So if it's been a day or so and I haven't responded and you want a response, just say, hey, circling back or whatever, and I'm happy to respond. I don't get bent out of shape about anything regarding that. So I realize that for some of you, this is a very stressful time. When I was very young, this was a very stressful time for me. For others, maybe not so much, but anyway, so that's how you contact me, and we can Zoom. The grading policy, if you go all the way down to the grading policy, let me go down below the schedule here. This is what there are these activities this is ICS321. Okay, so you do these in the textbook. You do 15% of the textbook, and that's just clicking through, reading the material, watching the little video animations, and all this, confirming that you're actually participating in, actively in reading the textbook. But it's easy to get all 15% of the points because you just gotta touch every page basically. There are these challenge activities, and that's 20% of your grade, and these are little fill in the blank quizzy type things, and I have it set so you can, as many times as you need to get the correct answer, you're allowed to do that. And the way they work is sometimes if you do a challenge activity and you get the wrong answer, it'll come back and say, okay, and they'll give you a slightly different challenge activity that tests the same thing. After a couple of times, it's just going to give you one that you've already done before, and it tells you what the answer is. So, so eventually you can get all the answers for challenge activities, but you want to zip through them as quickly as you can. If you do all the participation activities, then the challenge activities should be real easy. And then there are these they're called labs in the textbook. These are textbook things. And they're basically just, you're presented with a problem and you have to type in the SQL statement to get the result, or that kind of stuff. There are 24 of those. We'll see those in the textbook, and I'll throw out 4 of them. And then there are these. Everybody has been assigned internet web server with a LAMP stack, MySQL in there, and there's 5 assignments that you have to do and done on your server, and that's 20% of your grade. And then there's a final project, and we'll go over that. As far as homework goes, or as far as late homework policy, I don't have any time limits or submissions on anything. The server projects, they are also auto graded. All the textbook stuff is auto graded, so you know instantly whether you got the right answer. If you didn't get the right answer, you can submit again. Same with the server projects. You use this auto grader, and you know if you got the right answer. If not, you can resubmit. And so I don't have any. There's no time, no limits, no penalty for late homework. For late homework, that's auto graded, which is 95% is auto graded. Okay. This last 5% is not auto graded because it's a project, and I grade the project. I mean, there's interaction between you and me, and so then there's the time limit. We have to. It's synchronous, so there's going to be some sort of earlier possibly late homework penalty if we aren't submitting this on time because my schedule is involved. Whereas with the auto graded stuff, my schedule is not involved. It takes me 5 minutes to transfer the grades from either the textbook or the auto grader, which you'll learn more about, into Laulima, and so that's why I don't need to have any kind of penalty for late homework. If you want to look at the assignments, see if I'll go back to the textbook in a moment. Let's look at the assignments. And you should look at these because this assignment this first one corresponds to the first lab in the textbook. And we'll get to that in a moment. But in this assignment, I should have scheduled it earlier, but sometimes I don't have your websites set up by the time the first video is done, but this one's kind of late. Anyway, so everyone's got a server, and it's like it's basically it's the first it's your UH user ID, and mine is Richard H. And then so it's whatever yours is, .ics321.org, and you go there, and it's going to look like yours is only going to have CGI bin. These are all the results of doing projects in the class and so on, but and some other stuff. But anyway, so everyone's got one of these, and this first assignment teaches you how to log in to your server, to the cPanel, so you can access MySQL, you can access the file manager and all that. So that's this assignment. It's probably a video. I don't know. Is there a video someplace? Well, if there's not a video, I'm going to make a video. There are older videos, but this assignment has gotten easier. So you can look at one of the old videos. I will. That stuff's available in resources. There's some old videos here. These are the video playlists for all the previous times I've taught this course, and this one has been around for a while. This assignment has been around in some form or another for a while. Anyway, so that's what this. So this shows you how to do all that, and but then there's also assignments. There's this one where you have to create a bunch of databases, and that corresponds to about the time in the textbook where you're learning how to create databases. And then there's triggers and stored procedures, which just corresponds to about the time in the textbook when you're doing programming, SQL programming, procedural programming. And then this last one is APIs, where you're actually creating, PHP programs to access the database, and you have to write little PHP programs to access the database and to send back a JSON object, and so on. So if we go look at the schedule, I don't have that already. You look at the schedule overview schedule, you'll see that it's kind of hard to see actually. Schemas is about the time when we're learning how to create databases. Create databases, these are the database commands, constraints on database fields, and so on. The third one, and then some more fancy stuff. And then we get into database programming, and that's in chapter 9 of the textbook. And there the triggers and stored procedures assignments are very relevant there. It's right during spring break, so you should have a lot of free time. These chapters, there's only 2 sections in this chapter. And then after spring break, we dive into PHP, and we learn a little bit of HTML and a little bit of PHP, and we learn how to make these APIs that will access your database and return a JSON object. All right, and then we get into some more theoretical stuff, which is kind of important, but there's transaction management, learning about deadlocks and all that kind of stuff, and then data storage, different levels of data storage, and database architecture, and so on. Here we learn database design, which is like entity relationship diagrams and so on. Anyway, so that's where this class is headed. So let's look at the textbook real quick. It's going to look like, it looks like this. Costs $89. And there's 16 chapters, one for each week. These textbooks are nice because you can divide it up. Like, there was actually 1 chapter on relational databases, but I was able to divide it up to 3, divide it into 3 because I think there's three weeks worth of stuff. And you'll notice in each one of these that if you click on my activity down here, I think you should have this. You have, like, in the first chapter, we have these participation activities. Each sections, when you go through each of these, go through the section, you get points for that. And then in this one, there's a challenge activity, and if you complete the challenge activity, you get points. And then at the end of every chapter, there's at least 1 lab, and you'll see that, and you'll see that every chapter has got the same. It's a couple challenges, a couple labs here. This has got 4 labs. These are SQL statements. The most important thing that you leave this course with is knowing how to do SQL. That's the most important thing. So that's why there's a lot of those there. And then more lab. And so, okay, so that's the breakdown. Let's take a look at what a participation activity looks like. This is the first chapter. You can watch that. And basically, we're talking about what is data. And this is an animation. These are different types of data. You can click through it, and you see that data.gov has got a bunch of data sets. It's one kind of data. Kaggle.com has got a whole bunch of stuff that's not really that structured. And then we have data.nasa.gov, which is a bunch of raw, digital data. And so these are public data sets. They're available to the public. And oh, by the way, I get a check mark up here, which means I completed this participation activity. Here's another kind of participation activity where you just line up what these are with the definitions. Let's see, provides more than 250,000 government data sets, support research and development. I don't know, this one? Yes. Collects and reports in cancer. That's this one. And owned by Google, online published data sets. I don't know, is it Kaggle? Now, this is what happens if you do the wrong one. I'm going to put this one, I'm going to say, oh, is it this one? No, it's not. It just says incorrect. We just move it to the right one. This one is probably this. And then Kaggle is this one. And then this is that one. Okay. And I got all the correct, and I got this check mark. Okay, those are uh participation. That's another kind of participation activity. We're going to learn about, the differences between, learn about database systems and DBMS. We're going to learn about query languages. We're going to learn SQL, which is the query language. And we're also going to, in the end, we're going to, uh, yeah, okay. So query language differs differs from procedural languages. These are procedural languages where you write down some steps for the processor to do. Query language is you write down an equation which defines the data set that you want. And it's up to the database management system underneath to figure out the sequence of the sequence of functions or operations to derive that data set. So query language is different than and that's why for some individuals query SQL is they feel much more comfortable with SQL because it's just coming up with one equation that does what you need. Whereas when you're a programmer, sometimes your programs get really long. You have you learn techniques for taking a large problem and breaking it down into smaller problems, and you actually say how the steps to complete it. Anyway, so this exemplifies that. You can go through these, and by the way, let's go back here to the book, and we can see now that you see I've completed 18% of all of the participation activities in the first section. Okay, 3% of all the participation activities in the whole chapter. Okay, so those are participation activities. Let's go to query languages here. Let's go to this section. And here we learn about this chapter is a brief overview of everything. Okay, so we're going to go into a lot more detail into each of these kinds of queries, but there's basically 4 different kinds of queries in a query language. That's where you're doing something to the database, to the data in the database. You're either just looking at it in some kind of way. That's what the select statement does. It just returns a data set in some format that you have defined by the rest of the select statement. And then if you want to insert a record into the database, you use the insert. If you want to update a record in the database, you do the update. And if you want to delete a record in the database, use the delete. Now, with delete and update, that can affect more than one record. You can specify something where you're updating all the records that have a certain kind of criteria or restriction that follow a particular property. Same with delete. So a delete and update can affect many records. Insert is just you're inserting one record. And select can return one record or many records or all records. Anyway, so let's go down the four statements here, deletes, whatever. This shows the format of these statements. That's just what they look like. This is you're inserting this and the order matters. There's a defined order of these fields, columns here. And anyway, so this goes over that. Here's a challenge activity. A challenge. Let's do this one. Click start. And what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to insert. Okay, what is the new rows area? Okay, so we are inserting a new row into this table called country. Country has 4 fields. It's got a name field, capital field, population, area, and we're going to insert name, capital, population, area. We're going to insert that into this table. So what is the new rows area? Well, that would be this last one. See, it's the last one. So it's this one. And I'm going to say it is 59980. And I click check. And lo and behold, I got the check mark. Let's do the next one. These get progressively harder. So let's do the next one. And I tell you what, I'm going to get one of them wrong so you can see what it looks like when you get something wrong. Okay, so in this one, I'm supposed to say how many capitals are in the result. Okay. And so there's 5 capitals total, it looks like. But we only want the capitals from country. Here's country. Where the area of that particular record is less than 52,000. So that would be this one, this one, and that's all. This one's bigger than 52,000. This one's bigger, and this one's bigger. Okay, so the answer is 2. Okay. Well, I'm going to put 3 just because I want to see what happens when I get the wrong answer. Check. Boom. Expected 2. So this actually tells me the answer. Capital area 2. Okay. So now what happens when I click next? Well, I did not get the check, so it's next. Comes back to the same one. Now it asks for the number of capitals where the area is less than 92,000. And are these different? I don't know, maybe they're different. Well, now let's do the right answer. Is this one less than 92? Yes, it is. Is this one less? Yes, it is. Yes, yes, no. So they're all less than 92,000 except for this last one. So that's 4. So the answer is 4. Okay, check. Got the right answer, got the check mark. Okay, you can go ahead and do 3 and 4. All right. So here's another participation activity talking about creating tables. See, this is not a query. This is they call it something different, but this creates a table from nothing. Okay, so before you can access a table, before you can do an insert statement on a table, you got to create it. So this is how you do that. And we notice here that each of these fields has a very defined type. Okay, this ID field here, you can only put an integer in there. And for this name field, you can only put a name that's 60 characters or less. 60 is the maximum number of characters. Here you put a birth date, and it's got to be a date type. It's got to look like a date. Okay, and there's actually a very specific format of the date, namely the 4-digit year dash the 2-digit month dash the 2-digit day of the month. That's the format of the birth date in SQL. And then salary is going to be a decimal number, 7 digits, and 2 of those digits are digits to the right of the decimal point. The decimal point is implied, so it's a 7-digit number with 2 digits to the right of the decimal point. And you can figure out what that is. All right, so that's and I should have clicked through this to get the points. Blah blah blah. And this is the data types. Now we're done, and I get the check mark. All right, but anyway, so I've shown you what a challenge activity looks like. We did 2 of them. Let's go back here, and we see that now I did half of them. See, that's why it's 50%. All right, let's do this lab, and this lab is okay. So first of all, you should really look at okay, this wording is my wording, as you can tell. I took the original. You should watch that. I took the original lab 1.6 and I messed with it a little bit. In the original version of this book, they have you install a server on your computer. Right? So if you have a Mac, they have you install MySQL Workbench on your personal computer. Well, there might be people using iPads in this class, so you can't do that. So, but anyway, I provide my own server for all the other assignments. And so I thought, well, I might as well just have you do this part on the server that I provided for you, and that's what I've done over here. That's this assignment. This assignment. You do this assignment, and then you go to this, you go do a create table command to get the create table statement for the actor table. And then you go back here, and that's what you paste in right here. Okay. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it right now for you. Okay, so I'm gonna use mine. So I'm gonna go to mine. Okay, so these are the two files that we're gonna, this is what's called the schema, which is this. See, a bunch of create tables, That's the schema. And then this is the data. So this is just a bunch of insert statements. These are a bunch of insert statements. And oh, by the way, you can do this where you have insert into actor these values, and you can put a bunch of them all, there's a bunch of them, okay? And so this loads up the actors table all in one command. And then this loads up the address table all in one command. Who knows what all this stuff is? I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, so that's so let's we're going to grab these tables later, but let's just start at the beginning. First of all, go to your database. And so we go to, so mine is richardh.ics321.org. That's mine. You're going to go to yours, whatever yours is. Okay, not mine. Go to yours. And go to /cpanel. And type in the first 5 characters of your UH username followed by 321. First 5 characters. First 5 characters of your UH username. The first 5 characters of mine is RICHA. That's the first 5 letters. Oh, by the way, if your username has less than 5 letters, just do your username. If it's got 4 letters, just do all 4. Okay. And then the last 3 characters are 321. And that's, and in case you're interested, I got some students that take more than one class from me that I use this server, and I got a different usernames. Anyway, so that's why. So that's the username. And then your password is going to be the first letter of your last name, capitalized, followed by the first letter of your first name, not capitalized, followed by your 8-digit UH user ID, followed by %, hashtag, exclamation point. Okay, that's the password. I had to come up with some anyway. So that's what it is. So mine is my name is Richard Halverson. So it's capital H, lowercase r, and then my 8-digit UH user ID, followed by %, hashtag, exclamation point. And that logs me in. If anybody has any problems, just email me and I'll confirm that it works and confirm you're typing in the right stuff. All right. So then the first thing we're going to do is blah, 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 blah. So first I'm going to create a database called Sequila. And let me go here now. I think, okay, so basically I go to the, I'll make this bigger. Yeah, I'm doing the last one. So let me just make this bigger. Okay, so I go to I go to the let's first you're going to create the database. Okay, so go to manage my databases. And you're going to create a database called Sequila. Now I got these here already, so I'm just going to delete the Sequila. I'm going to start over again. So I'm going to delete this here. All right, so I'm going to create a new database called Sequila. I go here, I go Sequila, Sakila, Sequila. Don't do capital. Create database. Okay, database is created. It starts out with my username followed by an underscore and then the name Sequila. So you see the database the name is kind of doctored up a little bit. And there it is, and it's got 0 bytes. So just go back to tools here. Go right back to tools and go down and go to PHP okay? And this should pop up. And over on the left, you should see your username there. And if you pop this open, you should just see Sequila. You should see the one you just created called Sequila. Click on that, and you notice there's nothing there. No tables found in the database. This is the database up here, Sequila, and there's no tables found. All right. And now let's go back to we want to import the schema file. First, we import the schema file. And when we do it, make sure to disable foreign key checks. I'll show you that. And then after that, we import the Sequila data file. Okay. And we go into the Sequila database and we click on the import tab up at the top. All right. So first of all, I got to download these and put them someplace where I can upload them again. So here's a schema. So I clicked on it and it opened up in Google Sheets. I'm going to just click download here and see where it goes. Where did it go? It went into my no. Let me open it up and uh I'm gonna go to my downloads folder and I see it's my downloads folder. There it is. I just stuck it in my downloads folder, and that's the schema, and then also the data. Click over to data, and I want data. And I'm going to save this in my downloads folder. Puts it in my downloads folder. There it is. So now I got the schema and the data. Whatever. I wonder what that is. Who knows? Okay, there they are. They're in my downloads folder. Okay. All right, now let's go back to here. I'm in PHP I'm in Sequila. You just see Sequila up there. You don't see anything else over here. And I'm going to go click on import. And I'm going to file to import, choose file. And I'm going to go to my downloads folder. Here it is. And first of all, you got to do the schema first. You got to, all the create statements are there. And there it is. And that's fine. Let's disable the foreign key checks. Okay. Someday later on, I'll point out why that doesn't work, why it can cause problems. All right, forget about this. Just click import. And boom, lo and behold, 443 queries were executed and they're all there. All right, fantastic. Now, go back and, okay, so we've done this first part. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing again and do the data. So go back over here, click on import, and click on choose file. Oh, wait a minute. Hold it. Stop. I need to, I got to go back. Let's go to database Sequila. Click up here. Oh, no, that's right. That's right. I'm doing fine. Okay, now go to import. Well, you see that's the result of all, this is the result of all the create table statements. there's no rows in any of the tables. It's just we've created the tables, we've created structure. There's no data in there. So in the table, in the database, in the database, you see the list of all the tables. Click on import, and here we are again. Choose file. This time, choose the data, and again, click disable that, and then click import. And it should just go right in. No problems. Okay. Now, when we click on database up here, we see they're all populated. All right. Very good. Okay. So we've done that. And now let's go to our, we are doing this lab here. In PHPMyAdmin, open your Sequila import tab, choose the schema, upload the schema, disable foreign key checks, same words. And then, okay, then we have to go in and get what we need to paste here. That's this part. So what we do is we basically want to produce a create table statement. And to do that, we're going to click on the SQL tab and open an SQL window and then type show create table after semicolon, click go. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Go back over here. I'm going to click on my database at the top. I don't need to do that because I'm already here. Then I'm going to click on SQL and I'm going to type show show create table after semicolon. Show create table after semicolon. Go. Okay, now this looks kind of funny. It only shows that much. Well, we got to make it show it all. So click on extra options and click on full texts. And then click on go. And now we see the whole create table statement. There's the whole statement. See, this is it. It returns a table. It's got one record. The table's got 2 columns. This is what the table is, and this is what the statement is. Anyway, so take this whole thing. We want to grab the whole thing, copy the whole thing, copy to clipboard. And then, because we only want this part, go back here and then paste it right in here. Anyway, there it is. Okay. So I pasted it in. Now, we've got to make sure to put the semicolon. Do I say that here? Make sure you end your create table statement with a semicolon. Okay, so make sure you put a semicolon. It's got to separate between that and this. You don't put a semicolon there, but you put one. This statement. You put a semicolon there, and this statement's got a semicolon. Anyway, so let's run this, and we run it. And it looks like that. Well, that looks, yes, it looks right. Let's go submit for grading. And oh, I got 10 points. Okay, so I got all the 10 points. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. We need to go and test to make sure we got this part right. Okay, and there we use this auto grader. This is the URL of the auto grader. Copy this link, put it over here. And this is the SP25 spring 25, spring 2025, ICS321.org, enter. And this is the auto grader. And here you want to make sure that you got it right. So first type in your RICHA 321, type in your cPanel username, type in your cPanel password, HR percent hashtag exclamation, and then click on this, submit. And it says you got all the points, 100%. Might want to say that if you want to. And it goes and it checks to make sure you got everything right, uploaded it properly, and checks all these things, and 10 out of 10 points. So now, so that's how you record the points. Okay, so that's assignment 1. And so now you have completed assignment 1. Okay, you've completed assignment 1. And when I look at your SP, I should make it so when you click on this, you actually see the score on the right here, because this doesn't show any summary of your score. I might work on that. Anyway, so there's a back end to this. There's a back end, and I'm able to download your score. I'm able to see that you got all the points, okay? And so that's going to show up if you go to the Gradebook Classic. That's going to show up down here, Sequila, this one. And so you're going to get 10 points there, okay? And then also what we've also completed is this. So we got all the points here. So when you go back to your thing here, it doesn't show. Let's refresh this. Here, let's go here like that. And it shows there. Anyway, every semester at the beginning of the semester, I get an email from some students saying, hey, there's a bug in the thing. Well, yeah, it is a bug. It's a stupid bug. But eventually this will show that it's 20. It should be 100%. And now, after hitting refresh a few times, we see that this reflects all the activity that we've done so far in this video. I've done this all in this video. All right, so I think that is all I had today. Let me do this new Windows thing we got here. There. And did that. The weights reflect the grading. Oh, I did want to also mention for these gradebook items, I dropped the lowest for Zybooks Labs. Dropped the lowest for. And you don't have to start them to have the drop. So after you've done, after you've got all the points on all but 4, then stop. And then for this one, I'm going to drop the lowest one. These triggers and stored procedures are not that difficult. Well, they're difficult without the hints, but there's videos for every one of them. And if you just are not getting it, you can just like follow along the video step by step, and if you follow along exactly, you type in the steps correctly, then you should get all the points. All right, so anyway, that's the first video, and I'll be making more videos. If you have any questions, text me or email me. Thanks for watching.